Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Just Stone back here again with another video. Today we're going to be reviewing the brand new Arsenal home shirt for the 2023-24 season, and this is an authentic version. That means the player version of the shirt rather than the replica. So we're going to take a closer look at the shirt itself, everything it has to offer, and then I'll give my opinion on whether or not I like it. Right, so just a few details about the shirt itself before we fully get into it. This is supposed to be a 20-year anniversary of the time when Arsenal went unbeaten in the Premier League. So that was the 2003-2004 season, which is actually the last time Arsenal won the Premier League. So when there were some leaks about it, Arsenal were of course top of the Premier League in the season that's just finished, and we could all see the gold that was on it, and we were thinking, oh, this will be really fitting if we win the Premiership. Unfortunately we didn't, and I questioned why is there gold on this shirt, but that was before details emerged that this is supposed to be commemorating the 20-year anniversary of the time that they went unbeaten. Right, so reading some of the details that's in the description on the website for this, it has a rubberized club crest. Hopefully I'm pronounced this right, a premium jacquard detail. So as this is the authentic version, the player version, as I mentioned, this is a slim fit, has a ribbed crew neck and mesh side inserts. It has ribbed cuffs and of course the air cooling heat ready technology. And all of the material on this is 100% recycled polyester. And one thing I do want to point out, as I've gone on in previous videos, the product code for this shirt is HR6931. As usual, you'll find that on the tag that comes attached to the shirt, as well as a tag on the inside of the collar. And yeah, if you want to get the authentic version, I'd say if you're buying it from a third-party seller, make sure you can get the seller to send you at least a picture of that or confirm that it does have that detail on it, otherwise you will be sold a fake shirt. And alternatively, the product code for the replica version of the shirt is HR6929. Okay, so there is actually quite a lot going on with this shirt compared to last season, which in my opinion was quite simple, even though it had the nice looking collar. I really did like that. I prefer simplistic football shirts, if I'm honest with you. This one does have quite a lot going on. So to begin with, a look at the badge, and of course this is heat pressed on as usual, as you do get with the authentic versions of shirts. It does, as the description says, have a sort of rubber looking red backing to it in the back. And of course, yeah, you can see all the fine details on the Arsenal and the cannon, and that's heat pressed on compared to the replica version of the shirt. It is stitched on. So as standard, this is heat pressed on to make the shirt lighter for the football players when they're playing football. So over on the other side, we do have the Adidas logo. This year, Adidas have decided to go without the Adidas text underneath their three stripes logo on all their shirts. I quite like this. This is quite a nice touch. It's different. If I'm honest, I probably do prefer having the Adidas text underneath. I know I'm just contradicting what I just said. It does look quite nice on this. It's nice to have it with just the three stripes, but I think I do prefer the Adidas. So this is heat pressed on as well. This is in the sort of gold as well as the badge. Make it nice and light for the players when they're running around. In the middle, you've got the Emirates Fly Better, which I've opted to go for another season. As with all shirts, I believe this is heat pressed on. So yeah, this is standard if you buy the replica version or the authentic version. There's no difference there. What is interesting to me this season is that the three Adidas stripes on the shoulders are actually stitched on this time on the authentic one. Normally these are heat pressed on as well, but I'm quite happy that they're stitched on. I kind of prefer that. Like, if it's more stitched on, there's less chance of it coming off in the wash. Thankfully, I haven't had a problem with any other authentic shirts I've got, but they are stitched on this year rather than heat pressed on. I haven't seen a replica version of this shirt, so I'm not sure how different the replica stitching is and how different it is to the authentic version. But this does feel like, obviously, like really well done. There's no chance of, you don't have to worry about it coming off in the wash if you wash it too high on that. The collar of the shirt, which is quite a nice touch, it's quite similar to the actual shirt we had in 03-04. It was just a straightforward round white collar, and that runs around the front of this. On the back it's a little different. I'll show you that when we look at the back of the shirt. On the left hand sleeve we have got the Visit Rwanda sleeve sponsor, which is in gold as well, and that's heat pressed on. The sleeves themselves, they remind me a little bit of the shirt that Arsenal had when they first moved to the Emirates Stadium. So you have got like a little gold trim with a red underneath, but that doesn't run all the way around the sleeve. It sort of stops about 3/4 of the way. So about 3/4 of the sleeve does have that gold and red trim. And then of course the other sleeve is just plain white, where you can put your Champions League or Premier League patch, whatever you want to put on there. Over here in the bottom right corner, you have got the authentic Adidas logo that has authentic 2023-24. It is very different from the one that we have seen on the previous few shirts. It reminds me a bit of like a guitar pick now. It's a triangle shape rather than the vertical black rectangle that we've seen on previous shirts. And then on the bottom left, we have got the Heat Ready logo, which is also heat pressed on. Looking at the body and the material of the shirt, so it looks like a standard red color, but all the way through the shirt, you have got this more dark red, like, I don't know, the lightning sort of effect, for lack of a better term, that we have seen on the last shirt on the collar. That runs all the way down, all throughout the shirt. In my opinion, this stands out, and I probably think that this shirt might have been better without it. That's my opinion. It stands out a little too much, and in my opinion, it draws a lot of attention to it. I mean, fair play, I suppose that's what they were going for, isn't it? But I'm not a big fan of that, if I'm truly honest with you. On the front of the shirt and the sleeves, you have also got some very interesting sort of like stitching pattern. I say on the front of the shirt because on the back I've noticed that it only goes around the sides of the back, and then the main center of the back of the shirt is just plain material. I'll show you that a little later on. Right, so before we move on to the back of the shirt, there's one key detail that the authentic version boasts over the replica version, and to be honest, I don't really agree with it. So as this is sold as technically an anniversary shirt of the unbeaten season, there was a detail that came out that they would be putting the win and draw record down the white trim that runs down the side of the shirt and on the tail of the back. And fans were quite excited about it. So I thought, oh, that's a very nice touch. There's a lot of detail there. But it then came out because the replica version was released before the authentic version. And this detail is not on the replica version, which is quite sad considering they are selling it as like an anniversary shirt. So you will only find this on the authentic one, which is really sad considering the prices they charge this year. The prices have gone up, unfortunately. And it's really nice to have, but I think that they should have included that on both versions of the shirt. I suppose cost-wise, things like that, but the whole point of the shirt is to advertise it as a anniversary shirt, and that's, I mean, you know, that's the whole point of the anniversary. That's what Arsenal did in that 03-04 season, and the fact that it's not on both versions of the shirt, whether, you know, you just openly decide to get the replica version, or you maybe can't afford the authentic one and you then have to opt to get the replica version, you're not getting that detail on that version of the shirt. So very nice touch, but it's sad that it's not on both versions of the shirt. Alright, so moving on to the back of the shirt. As mentioned, you have got the sort of lightning effect that runs all the way through the shirt. And yeah, the stitching pattern does only run on down the sides of the back of the shirt. In the middle, it's just a plain sort of stitching effect, but you have got the lightning bolts as mentioned. So the main thing to stand out on the back of the shirt is the heat pressed gold lightning bolt with AFC at the top. That's a nice little touch as well. My overall opinion on it, I'm not sure I like it, but I suppose it adds something to the shirt. As I touched on, the white collar of the shirt does almost go all the way around, but it does get separated where the lightning bolt is, and you've got this sort of body of the shirt extends all the way to the top. So the white of the sleeves does extend onto the shoulders here, and this reminds me a little of the shirt that Arsenal had about 3 seasons ago, where you had the same thing. And then just on the back here, you have got a mesh sort of material here. I suppose that's for ventilation. So you've got the standard sleeve, and then it does change into a mesh just sort of down the side and down the back here. And then lastly, as I mentioned, the win-draw record does also go along the tail of the shirt here at the very bottom. Just to give you some measurements for the shirt, this is a large size, so that's an L. I normally buy a large size for myself. I don't really want it skin tight. Probably if I went for a medium, it would be a bit too tight for me. I like a large, so if I am running around or playing football, I can get some ventilation and air to my body. I prefer that. So this fits quite, I won't say loosely, but there's like a lot of space for ventilation. If I got a size medium, I reckon it would be a bit too tight and quite uncomfortable. So in terms of measurements, I measured this from the back of the collar all the way to the bottom. That's approximately 82 centimeters. And then across, so effectively armpit to armpit, that's how they measure chest. That is approximately 53 centimeters. Right, all that's left is for me to try on the shirt just to show you what it's like, and I'll give you my overall thoughts on the shirt itself. All right, and here we are. This is me with the shirt on. As I said, this is a large size and it does fit quite nicely. So in terms of the sleeves, it's just about right. A bit of slack there. In terms of the body, a nice little bit of slack there. And on the side, if you can hopefully see by that, there's a bit of slack all around. As I said, I prefer a somewhat loose fit, you know, obviously not too baggy, but loose. I don't want it skin tight. So if I was going to buy a replica version, I would still buy a large size, even though this authentic one is classed as a slim fit. It fits just nicely. It's not too baggy, it's not too tight at all. So just give you a rotation there of the shirt. And I can do that now that I have a wireless microphone. Anyway, what's my thoughts on the shirt? So as I said, this shirt seems to have a lot going on. I tend to prefer somewhat of a simplistic shirt. Last season's shirt I was really fond of. That was quite simple, but it had a nice touch with the collar. The 03-04 shirt was just simple, plain red and white. But you know, that holds a place in my heart, obviously, because Arsenal went unbeaten. There seems to be too much going on here. The thing that stands out for me, as I said, is the sort of dark red lightning sort of pattern, or the Shazam type pattern that runs all the way through the main body of the shirt. It stands out a little too much for me. It kind of takes my attention away from a lot more of the shirt. Like from afar you can clearly see it. Obviously I suppose the designers and the marketers were going for that sort of thing, but for me it's not really my cup of tea. The gold lightning bolt or Shazam pattern on the back with the AFC, not too fond of that as well. Does it look a little tacky? Maybe, but I suppose it does make it sort of stand out on the back. Usually there's like a cannon or something like that, or you know, last season there was the text Arsenal. They had to put something there, I suppose, but I don't know if I'm too keen on it. And then obviously with the gold, it's supposed to be like a commemorative shirt for the 03-04 unbeaten season. Personally, I feel it would have looked a lot better if Arsenal had won the league. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But I sound like I'm slagging off the shirt a little bit. I suppose I am, but overall, I'd probably say I do like it, but I don't love it. I'm hoping that this shirt's going to grow on me, like if I see the team playing throughout the season with it. We only had the last home game of the season where they had it. Unfortunately, it wasn't on TV, so I didn't get a good look at it. Like I say, I like the shirt, but I don't love it. But if I can compare it to the one from 2 seasons ago with the blue and the white down the sides, I really didn't like that kit at all. And honestly, the leaks that have come out at the moment of the away kit and the third kit, this is by far the best kit. The away kit looks horrendous and I won't be going anywhere near that. So of the 3 this season, I think this is the best looking shirt. I like it, but I don't love it. So just to round off this video, unfortunately the prices for shirts have gone up. Last season the authentic shirt was £100, this year it's £110, and the replica version is up to £80 I believe, from £70. Now £70 and £100 was already a hell of a lot for a football shirt. I can remember back in the day when I was a kid or a teenager, it was like started at £30 up to maybe like £45. Thankfully for me and my household, I'm the only real football fan here, so I only have to buy one of these shirts if I'm interested. Now just take into account, like say you want to buy a relative or like your children like the football shirts as well. Say you pick one up for yourself, even if you buy the replica version, £80, and then a child one, I don't even know how much they are, but I would imagine they're probably like about £30 to £40. Or say if you're going to buy like another replica, if you buy 2 replicas, that's £160 right there. That's quite ridiculous, to be honest, for football shirts these days. And the thing is, they're bringing one out every season. When I was young, they used to bring one out every 2 seasons, and that was like ideal. You can get familiar with a shirt, you don't have to spend as much money, but I would imagine it's more of a marketing thing, you know, the biggest way to make money. In terms of business sense, it makes sense, but for the general consumer, I think it's quite ridiculous. And I don't want to get too much into a whole rant about this, but think of the people that make these shirts. This shirt was made in Vietnam. I'm sure the people who actually make them get paid pennies or whatever, and then the sports companies and the teams, you know, all that make a killing basically. But yeah, I don't want to go too much into that, but I just think the general pricing for like a general sports fan or whatever, if they want to pick up the shirt, they have to fork out a lot of money. And if prices go up again next season, I think, I don't know, it's getting really out of hand, if I'm honest with you. I hope this review has done something to help you if you're thinking of picking up this shirt. You can have a great look at all the details before you pick it up. Like I said, I haven't seen a replica version, but the authentic one, I would highly recommend it if you can afford it. I think authentic's the way to go. The material feels better if you're using it for sports or playing football. And if you do have to sell it for whatever reason in the future, I would imagine it would have more resale value. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this review. Like I say, I hope this video has helped you. If you have enjoyed it and it has helped you, please give the video a thumbs up. It's just nice to know that my content is having some sort of effect, you know, helping people. Makes me feel like my time and energy was worth it. And it's always great for someone to support the channel. If you want, you can take a look at my other videos based on other shirts and everything like that. Please feel free to subscribe, that would be great. And yeah, that's a review of the new 2023-24 Arsenal home shirt. This has been the authentic version. And thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care, don't be a plonker, and I'll see you in the next video.